الحمد لله الذي لم يزل عليما قديرا صلى الله وسلم على من أرسل إلى الناس بشيرا ونذيرا وبعد. Tonight, inshallah ta'ala, my dear brothers, we're going to be discussing gems, jewels, pearls and lessons from Surah Yusuf, a noble surah indeed. So much so that Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said that Surah Yusuf has over 1,000 benefits. And he said, if I am given a long life, I will surely author a book about this noble surah. But it was the qadr of Allah that Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah was to pass away and he never got a chance and opportunity to do so. However, ulama after him and of course before him have authored great tafsir on this surah. And thus, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to extract some of these lessons and ponder over them this evening. In terms of the merits of this surah, there are many, but I just wanted to highlight one. This surah, like all the other surah of course, is a testimony for the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How is that the case? When the Jews in Al-Medina heard of a man who's claiming to be a prophet in Mecca, they sent someone to go and test him out. They basically asked someone to ask the Prophet Muhammad, how did Banu Israel arrive in Egypt? And this is of course the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, because when Yusuf alayhi salam became the minister, he of course allowed them to migrate. So it was the story of Yusuf. Allah Azza wa Jal didn't just reveal the answer, but He revealed the entire surah, which has a complete story from beginning to end, unlike many other stories of the prophets. If you look at some of the stories of the Anbiya, their stories are mentioned and distributed throughout the Quran. For example, Musa alayhi salam. He's mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ali Imran, Al-Nisa, Al-Ma'idah, Al-An'am, Al-A'raf, Al-Anfal, Al-Kahf, Taha, Al-Anbiya, on and on. However, despite this vast mentioning, an abundant mentioning of Musa alayhi salam, there's no surah called Surah Musa. And despite Yusuf alayhi salam only being mentioned a little bit throughout the Quran, has an entire surah dedicated to him, surah number 12 of the Quran. Amazing. So Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned this story from beginning to end in such detail. You want to doubt Rasulullah? You want to claim he fabricated this Quran? Well, here you go. An entire surah. Allahu Akbar. Amazing. So inshallah we're going to start with this surah. What I suggest is if you open up a mushaf or take out your phone and follow in the ayat, we're going to inshallah ta'ala, this way we don't lose you, and you can also follow on and you can see what's going on in this amazing surah. So Surah Yusuf, Surah 12, you can pick up a mushaf or take out your phones. The iPhones these days have it all, don't they? Probably saying, no, I'm Android. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Android, smartphone, iPhone, right? They're all beneficial inshallah ta'ala. So let's start with ayah 3. Allah Azza wa Jal says, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. Allah Azza wa Jal is addressing Rasulullah and by extension us, saying we narrate and relate to you the best of stories. What are the best of stories? The ulama gave two interpretations. Some of the ulama have stated the Quranic stories, all of them are the best of stories. Others have stated the story of Yusuf is the best of stories because Allah Azza wa Jal is mentioning it here from the beginning of this noble surah. Now why did they say the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? Why is that the best of stories? Because it's a complete story. It covers so many things. Whether the issue of losing a family member, sadness, grief, parenting, birrul walidain, tawakkul, qadar, modesty, protection from zina, da'wah, ila akhirihi. It mentions so many things, it's a complete package for you. And also, amazingly, scholars of literature, non-Muslims, they say that powerful and effective narrative must have the following 5 points. Effective writing, powerful narrative must have 5 things. Number 1, a great setting. Where is the story of Yusuf alayhi salam set? Which country, my dear brothers? Egypt and Palestine, ahsantum. So the two oldest civilizations and great civilizations of that on the face of the planet, literally. The two of the oldest civilizations on the planet, Egypt and Palestine. So it's a great setting. Number 2, for effective, powerful writing, you must have unforgettable characters. And if you've ever heard the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, you can't forget the characters. Name me some of them. Of course, Yusuf alayhi salam, right? That's a given. His brothers. Yaqub, the father who was a prophet. Who else? Benjamin. Ahsant. The king, what was his name?
Aziz.
Al-Aziz. And his wife. Ahsantum. Who else? Ahsant. The companions in the prison, right? You don't forget those characters, so they're unforgettable characters. That's the second point for powerful writing. What was the first we said? A great setting. Number 2, unforgettable characters. 3, an important moral. It has to be a moral, a lesson you can learn from the story, the narrative. And of course, Surah Yusuf is jam-packed with morals and lessons, which we're going to, inshallah ta'ala, focus on. Number 4, significant and important details. In other words, that which is necessary doesn't take you around the world. If you were to read the stories of the prophets in the Bible, you get to the first paragraph, you're like, oh. Takes you around the world, their grandfathers, nephews, nieces, aunties, uncles. It just waffles on. Significant details. And number 5, attention grabbing. It needs to grab your attention. You want to be a powerful writer, have effective narrative, you need to grab the reader's attention. So you find significant details and attention grabbing. It starts from the onset of Surah Yusuf. Let's jump to ayah 4. A powerful intro indeed. إِذْ قَالَ يُوسُفُ لِأَبِي يَا أَبَتِ إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشْرَ كَوْكَبًا وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. Powerful intro, it takes you right into the story immediately. When Yusuf alayhi says to his father, "Oh my dear father, I saw 11 stars." Sometimes you might read 11 planets. The word kawkab can mean stars or planets. I saw 11 stars or planets and the sun and the moon prostrating to me. It starts immediately with Yusuf telling his father about this dream. Now you may think, what did I miss? Well, everything you missed, Habibi, is not important. It doesn't give you insignificant details. No, it gives you that which is necessary for maximum impact. It hits home immediately. As we said, powerful intro, significant details, and it grabs your attention. And it doesn't mention how Yusuf alayhi woke up. Did he wake up terrified? Was he sweating? Was he scared? And how did he sleep? Did he sleep on the floor? Did he sleep on the bed? What did he have for dinner the night before? Usually when you have a large meal, right, you dream of funny things. And because he was a young boy, what color were his pajamas? It doesn't mention all that stuff. There's no need for it. Allah described the Quran as huda lil muttaqeen. It's a guidance. It's only going to give you that which is significant, important for your guidance. That is it. So immediately it tells you what's important. Amazing. Now let's look at these words and break them down. Yusuf alayhi salam says, Ya abati. My dear father. That's a common translation. Now the scholars of Arabic have stated there are 10 ways in which you can address your father. There's Ya Abi, there's Ya Abati, there's Ya Walidi, there's Ya Sayyidi, there's Ya Rabb al-Bayt. There's many ways. The height of respect in addressing your father is Ya Abati. And this is a prophetic manhaj methodology. You find the prophets address their fathers like this. Ismail alayhi salam, he says, Ya Abati, if'al ma tu'mar. So Ismail addressing his father, Ya Abati. Also, Ibrahim, when he was a child, how does he address his father, Azar, who was a kafir mushrik? He said, Ya la'een or shaitan? He says, Ya Abati, Allahu Akbar. Manners of the highest order and degree, the height of respect. Now, what's the difference between Ya Abati and Ya Abi? They're both translated as my father, yes? Abi, Abati, what's the difference? Only one letter difference, what is it? The ta, right? The ta. What's the difference? What does this do? In Arabic, the scholars have stated, Ziyadatul mabna, Ziyadatul ma'na. The more you increase letters of a word, you pump it up, you inject it like with steroids, the greater the meanings, literally. So there's an inclusion of a ta, extra letter, extra meaning. What is this extra meaning? A meaning of love, compassion, mercy, and respect. Why? Because the ta is included. Now the ta, where is it situated in the Arabic alphabet? The end or in the beginning? Beginning. Alif, ba, ta, right? If you remember Arabic classes back at school, alif, ba, ta, inshallah you didn't forget. Ta is in the beginning, so it indicates closeness. So when you say Ya Abati, you indicate the ta of closeness. You're saying my close dad, my beloved dad. That's what you're saying, subhanAllah. As opposed to just Ya Abi. So Ya Abati, the height of respect, teaching us how to address your dad. Not, hey old man, hey pops. No, no, no. Ya Abati. That's how we address father. Now what's Yaqub alayhi salam's reaction? His father. Does he dismiss it? Say, oh, this dream is rubbish, don't worry about it. Just had a nightmare. Does he reject it? No. He sits there listening to his child. Allahu Akbar. He listens. That's why Yaqub alayhi salam is highlighted as a role model father in the Quran. A lot of the time, fathers, they don't listen to their kids, right? Dad, look what I done at school. I'm busy. Dad, look at this award. Not now. Dad, look at this. Out of their office. I'm busy. I've got work. Get out of here. A lot of the time, the father doesn't have time for the kids. This is a disaster. And if you don't give your kids time now, especially for the parents, fatherhood tip, if you don't give your kid time now, they're not going to give you time later. Simple as that. And that's why when parents, they come up to me, they're complaining, my son, my daughter, 15, 16, 17 years old, I ask them, how was school today? They don't want to answer. Okay, what do you want to eat? Nothing. What do you want to do on the weekend? I don't know. They don't want to talk. Why? Because you didn't give them time when they were young. They don't want to give you time when they're older. كَمَا تَدِينُ تُدَانُ. You reap what you sow. Don't expect succulent strawberries when you're sowing the seed of a cactus. Allah is teaching the fathers out there and parents in general, listen to your kids, give them time. Because kids are not a distraction from important work, they are important work. Once a child went up to his father. He said, Dad, how much do you earn an hour? He says, how dare you ask me that question? Get out of here, little rat. The little boy ran off crying. The father felt guilty. He said, okay, look, come here, son, I'm sorry. I earn $15 an hour. You happy now? The kid said, Dad, here's $15. Can I get 1 hour out of your time? Look at Yaqub alayhi salam. He's got a busy schedule. He's a prophet. And he's got time for his kids. Sometimes, what do I say that he's got time despite being a prophet? A person who's a leader or a sheikh in the community, no time, right? He's busy teaching, giving khutab, answering calls, giving fatawa, no time for the family. No, Yaqub alayhi salam is highlighted, as we said, as a role model father in the Quran. And what's amazing is that kids, they don't usually go and tell their parents their dreams, right? Usually. Kids don't tell mum and dad their dreams. And if they were to tell them their dreams, who would they go to, mum or dad, usually? Mum. Why? Because they feel more comfortable, right? They feel more comfortable with mum. A lot of the times, kids feel intimidated by dad. But Yusuf alayhi salam feels so comfortable with dad, he goes over to him and he tells him his dream. Allahu Akbar. Amazing lessons. Opening ayah from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, ayah 4. In terms of course, opening ayah, when we say this, in terms of the story now. Amazing. Allahu Akbar. So kids have to feel comfortable with us. If we're parents, they can't feel intimidated. A lot of the time, when father comes home, the kids, they get scared, they run away. Dad's here, yallah, let's go. They feel that when dad walks in the room, he's like Batman, he's going to take us all out. No, kids have to feel comfortable. If they're not feeling comfortable, there's a problem with our parenting. So he said, I saw the stars, sun and the moon. What does this mean? What are the stars, sun and the moon? What is the interpretation of this dream? Who knows? Al-Usra? The family, in other words? Yes, that's right. However, that's one of the meanings. And another meaning is that this dream means prophethood. Where do we get this from? Ayah 6. Yaqub alayhi salam is the one who informs his child. This dream means prophethood. As if you want to go to Ayah 6, he tells him the answer. وَكَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ وَيُعَلِّمُكَ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. He said, likewise, your master is going to select you. He's going to choose you, meaning make you a prophet, and he's going to teach you the interpretation of ahadith, dreams, etc. And he's going to complete his favor upon you, just like he completed his favor upon the earlier prophets. So he actually gives him the interpretation. This dream, he's telling him, means prophethood. So that's one of the meanings. And another meaning is it means the family, and both are true. Because at the end of the surah, what happens? The brothers prostrate to Yusuf alayhi salam, and this was a sajda out of takreem and tashrif, out of honoring, and not out of ibadah. And that was something that was allowed in the earlier sharia, but not in the sharia of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We know that angels were also commanded to prostrate to who? Adam alayhi salam. So it was a prostration out of honor, and not the prostration out of worship. So that's was something they had. So they prostrated in the end of the surah, and thus that was the dream coming to light. It became a reality, and he lifted his parents and he put them on the throne. So basically they had that humiliation or that humbleness for him, rather, and in terms of respect for his nobility, and he became a prophet. So both are applied. But what's amazing is that second interpretation of the family. Other ulama said, yes, the sun represents who? The father. And the moon? Mother. The stars? The brothers. In other words, the kids, yeah, the children, because the children are the stars of our lives. Sahih? Now, they said the son represents the father. Why? Because when the sun is out, isn't that a time for work? Where you can earn your livelihood? And who's the one usually earning the bread and the butter? It's dad, yes? So when the sun is out, that's when it's time for work. Usually dad is the one working, and thus the son represents the father. Amazing. And usually, do you see the kids with dad at work? At the construction site or in the office? Usually, no, you don't see it. And we said the stars represent the kids, right? And you don't see the stars in the day when the sun is out. Amazing. This says you don't see the kids with the father, you don't see the stars with the sun. And the moon represents who? Mum. And the moon comes out when? Nighttime. And nighttime is a time for tranquility, peace, right? When there's no work, there's no hustle and bustle in the city, no waja'ras, no traffic jams, etc. Usually at night it's more calmer, and that's what the mother represents, calmness, tranquility. When you want a hug, you go to Mum. She'll soothe your heart. Not dad, will probably break you, right, usually. So amazing how these objects represent the family. And then the icing on top, icing on the cake. The scholar said, what happens when the sun takes the role of the moon, and the moon takes the role of the sun? What happens? What's that called? Eclipse. And when there's an eclipse, usually there's chaos. People are scared, they're frightened. And likewise, when the mother takes the role of the father, and the father takes the role of the mother, what happens is chaos, there's a divorce. Chaos. SubhanAllah. Ajib. And when there's an eclipse, what don't you see? Ahsant, ya Abu Bakr. The stars. When there's an eclipse, you don't see the stars. In other words, when there's chaos, that's the stars disappear. So when there's chaos in the family, such as divorce, who's affected? The stars of the family, the children. SubhanAllah. They're the ones who are affected. They suffer the most. Amazing what we can learn just from the opening ayat of Surah Yusuf. My dear brothers, the Quran is deep. If only the Muslims understood this and learned this book on a regular basis. They had studies and they learned the tafsir. The Quran is for ourselves, not for ourselves. I've said this before and we'll say it again. Now, let's go back to Ayah 5. I wanted to mention that dream because it's important, because it's connected to Ayah 5. But in Ayah 5, Yaqub alayhi salam, he's addressing his son. How does he address him? With respect. قَالَ يَا بُنَيْ, oh my dear child. He treats him with respect as well. In other words, respect is a two-way street, not just one way. Now, a lot of parents think, you treat me with respect and I treat you like garbage and dirt. No, Habibi. It works both ways. Now he said, Ya bunay. What's a common translation we said? Oh my son, yes? However, what's the difference between yabni? You say ibni, what's that mean? My son, yes? What's the difference between bunay and ibni? Yabni, ibni, bunay. On the end. Bunayya, yes? The shadda indicates here another ya. This ya is called ya tasghir. What does ya tasghir do? Yusaghir. It makes something smaller, it shrinks it. In other words, he's not just saying my son, he's saying my baby son, right? Ya tasghir, my baby son. Why is he saying that? When you want to use soft words with your child, you say ya habibi, my baby, right? My baby boy. So he's using soft terms. So he starts off soft. Parenting tips on how to instruct children. So he wants to teach him something. He wants to command him. A lot of parents, when they want to command, what do? Ya shaitan, what did you just do? How dare you? No. Start off soft, habibi. So he says, Ya bunay. That's the first parenting tip. Next, he instructs him, he commands him. He says, La taqsus ru'yaka ala ikhwatik. Do not narrate this dream, this vision to your brothers. So you have to instruct as parents. Some parents believe that you can't instruct your kids. No, just let them find out on their own. No, you have to teach them. And as a parent, you're more wise and knowledgeable. So that's the second parenting tip. Instruct. 3, you don't just leave it there. What do? You instruct, but you explain. You need to explain that instruction. That's what he does. He says, فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا. He says, don't narrate this dream. Perhaps your brothers may plot against you. He explained it. Because kids are curious by nature. That's how we've been created as humans. If you just say, don't do this, without explaining, what are they going to do? They're going to do it. Right? Don't go out in the sun. What are they going to do? Go out in the sun. Wonder what's going to happen. And they come back inside after an hour, red as a tomato. Explain. Don't go in the sun because you might get sunburned. Explain. And that's what Luqman alayhi salam did. He said, La tushrik billah. Don't you dare give Allah a partner. But did he stop there? Did he? No. What's next? Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. He said, because shirk is the highest form of oppression and darkness. Don't do it. He explained it. So he explains. He says, because if you do, they might plot against you. Amazing. So we said start off soft, then instruct, and then explain. Fourth, you need to provide context. Sometimes that explanation needs to be put in context. Yusuf alayhi salam is confused now. My brothers are going to plot against me? I thought they're my brothers. I love them. Don't they love me? So what is Yaqub alayhi salam at? Inna shaytana lil insani aduwwu mubin. Shaitan is a plain, clear enemy to mankind. In other words, it's from him. He's sowing the seeds of enmity, not your brothers. So he provided context. And finally, how does he cap it off? How does Yaqub alayhi salam end this instruction? What is it? He started soft and he ends soft. Sah? Ahsant ya Abu Bakr. He ends soft. Ayah 6. He ends by saying, as we said, وَكَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ. Your Lord, your Master is going to select you. In other words, he's giving him hope. He's saying, your Rabb, Allah, is going to make you a prophet. So he ended off soft. He's giving him hope for the future. So he started soft and he ended soft. And in the middle was the instruction. And this is what sociologists today, 21st century in the West, non-Muslims are saying, how to instruct children and students. It's called the sandwich approach. What's a sandwich approach? How is a sandwich or a burger made? You have soft bun, the meat, and then soft bun. In other words, you start soft, you go in hard, then you end soft. This is what non-Muslims are saying, my dear brothers. We have it in the Quran. The best way to instruct. Why is it that many Muslims are going to the kuffar for answers? Karl Marx, and this philosopher, and that philosopher, and this theologian, and Habibi, go first and foremost to the Quran and the Sunnah. That's our source of knowledge. Not saying you can't benefit from them, no, you can. Take the good and leave the rest. The scholar said, eat the fruit, but throw the twig in the fire. In other words, take the good, leave the bad. However, our primary source of knowledge is the Quran and the Sunnah. For example, how do you apply the sandwich approach when teaching, if that wasn't clear? Let's just say you found your child eating from the cookie jar, wasn't supposed to. You don't say, yeah, Dumbo, you're going to get fat. No, we said start soft, right? You say, I love you, but I don't love what you did. See how you differentiate between them and the action? You have to tell them you love them. So I love you, I don't love what you did. And then, you can say, I know you love chocolates and biscuits, so you're going in soft. Then you go in hard. You say, for example, you shouldn't have done that. I told you to ask me. So you have to instruct. And then you end soft. I know you're going to do the right thing next time. Be positive. This is what Yaqub alayhi salam is teaching us. So these are all parenting matters, and we're going to move on to that. For those brothers who aren't parents here, I can see them thinking, Allah, what's next? But this is important. Even if you're not a father yet, then shabab, take notes for the future. Now, why is Yusuf alayhi salam cautioned? Why does Yaqub tell him, don't narrate this dream? Because of his brothers? What? Starts with E. Envy, yes? Of course. Because of shaitan. He's going to whisper to them, and he's going to plant that seed of hatred, envy, and enmity. Because of envy, basically. They're going to be jealous of him because he's going to be a prophet. This is a very valuable lesson, my dear brothers. That if Yaqub alayhi salam is warning Yusuf alayhi salam not to narrate something good to his own brothers, why is it that many Muslims, they want to tell the world, not their own brothers and sisters, the whole world, of everything that good that happens in their lives? Why? Watch out for the evil eye, envy, hatred. A lot of haters out there. Be careful. Something good happens to you, don't put it on Facebook and Twitter and tell the whole world, wait habibi. For example, you get a proposal, or you might get a letter of acceptance to Al-Madinah University, for example. Just wait until you actually go. Be careful who you narrate it to. Because al-aynu haq, as Rasulullah said. The evil eye is true. It can affect people. People can harm you just from jealousy, enmity, and envy. It's that easy. So be careful who you narrate your dreams to, and who you narrate your good prospects to. Until it becomes known, or it happens, no problem. فَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Then tell the people who you love, etc. But watch out who you narrate things that happen in your life that are of positive and good nature. Let's now fast forward to ayah 15. What happens? His brothers, of course, they become jealous, and what do? They plot, and what do they do with Yusuf alayhi salam? They throw him into the well. So ayah 15, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions that Yusuf alayhi salam is thrown into the well. In other words, he's placed in the well without food, water and provision, but what ends up happening in the future? He becomes the minister of food, water and provision in Egypt. Allahu Akbar. In other words, never doubt the divine decree of Allah. The lesson we can learn from ayah 15, never doubt Allah's qadar. Because the misfortunes of a believer are fortunes in disguise. You never know where the khayr lies. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Perhaps you may dislike something, but it's better for you. Just like medicine. Sometimes the medicine is bitter, sour, but you take it anyway. Why? Because the benefits outweigh the harms. A little child sometimes taken to the doctor, doesn't want that needle, thinks it's bad. I don't want this metal thing going into my arm. But the doctor and the parent know out of their wisdom that is better for them, even though they have to experience a little bit of pain. As the saying goes, everyone wants victory, but no one wants pain. Well, you can't get the rainbow except with a little bit of rain. Sometimes you've got to go through that bitterness to taste the sweetness. And what's amazing is that he was sold as a degraded slave, but because of that, Yusuf became an honored king. Exact opposite. Allahu Akbar. So if you doubt the plan, don't doubt the planner. Allah Azza wa Jalla. Now when he's sold into slavery, what happens? He is purchased by the king. And basically he is now a servant in the castle of Al-Aziz. Now go to ayah 24. It mentions the seduction of Yusuf alayhi salam. Who seduced him? Who wanted to take advantage of him? The wife of Al-Aziz. Ahsantum. Why? Yusuf was extremely handsome. How handsome was he? Half of beauty. Ahsan. Shatr al-Husan. You said half of beauty, yes? In Arabic there's two words for half. There's shatr and there's nisf. Like you say nis in Ammiya. Nisf is half. What's shatr? More than half. He actually had more than half of beauty. You could say 2/3 of beauty. It wasn't just half. Allahu Akbar. Extremely handsome. So handsome, the women wanted to take advantage of. Allahu Akbar. Like our dear brother Abu Bakr, mashallah. Handsome brother. Yes? Very handsome. Even the women wanted to take advantage. Usually the other way around. Usually it's the men who want to take advantage of the women. He's extremely handsome, so what happens? The wife of Al-Aziz enters upon him one day. She locks the door really tight. And she goes, Haytu lak, hittu lak, ha'ana lak. There's different qira'at for this ayah. Why different qira'at? Because there was different ways she just wanted to get to him. She's basically saying, take me, I'm here, I'm all yours, right now. She wanted him bad. What does he do? He says, Ma'ad Allah. I enter into the protection of Allah. And he makes a bolt for the door. What does she do? Does she just stand there saying, don't worry, I locked it tight? What does she do? She runs after him. Now why would she run after him when she knew she locked it really tight? Why would she do that? The scholars derived an amazing lesson from this ayah. The scholars said, all it takes for the people of batil, falsehood, to have fear, anxiety and terror in their hearts is for the people of haqq to bust a move. That is it. Do something. The people of haqq, don't be a pushover. Our brothers and sisters are being oppressed overseas. Say something, do something. If we compromise the truth, my brothers, how will it ever be known? That's the lesson there. She was terrified. Why? Because the people of haqq, Yusuf alayhi salam, he made a move for it. He did something. So when our ummah is being terrorized, all we have to do is do something. Don't just sit there. Let's not be cowards. It's a very important lesson. And Allah Azza wa Jalla says in ayah 24, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَأَىٰ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. She inclined to him and he would have inclined to her if he didn't see the evidence from his Lord. In other words, he didn't incline to her at all. That was his taqwa. Amazing. Why did Allah protect him? Allah concludes this ayah by saying, إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ. He was a true, chosen abd from our ibad. What's abd? A slave. Yes, keep that in mind. Allah said he was from our selected ibad, selected slaves. Allah said in Surah Al-Hijr, ayah 40, addressing shaitan. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, إِنَّ عِبَادِي لَيْسَ لَكَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُلْطَانٌ. O shaitan, you won't have any authority over my true ibad, slaves. In other words, you want protection from shaitan, protection from sins, protection from zina, like Yusuf alayhi salam. Be a true abd. Be a abd, a slave, and not a servant. Servant comes from service, which is part-time. Slavery is full-time. Be a full-time slave. In other words, it's not just about worship. You can worship at Maghrib, which we just did. You can worship at Isha. You can worship at Fajr. Yeah, you're worshipping, but what are you doing between those times? Sah? When you're praying, you could be like Abdullah. And when you're not praying, you could be like Abdul Shaitan. It's not just about worship, it's about being a slave. Allah protected Yusuf because he was a true slave. Amazing lesson we can derive from ayah 24. You know what's also amazing? Yusuf alayhi salam, when was he separated from his father or his family? When? How old was he? Was he young or old? Young, yes? Young, he was separated from dad. Yet when he's a handsome young bachelor, and this woman wants to take advantage and she locks the door, no one's going to find out, and he's of high status and repute, he asks Allah to protect him. And he keeps away. Why? Because of taqwa. Where did this taqwa come from? Of course, after Allah's bounty, from his father. His father planted the seed of taqwa at a young age, and thus the fruit grew when he was old. The lesson is, my dear brothers, it's never too young to teach your kids right and wrong. Start them early. A lot of parents say, I don't want to get my daughter to wear hijab. She's too young. Let her live life a little bit. No, never too young to teach your kids early what is haqq and what is batil. Very important. Now let's fast forward again to ayah 32 and 33. Now he was so handsome, of course he wanted to keep away from zina, and the women threatened. They basically said, look, among them the wife of Al-Aziz, if you don't do what we want, in other words zina, then we're going to imprison you. And in ayah 33, he complains of this. Yusuf alayhi salam says, قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه. Oh my master, oh Allah, prison is more beloved to me than what they invite me to. What were the women inviting him to, my brothers? Zina, yes? Yusuf alayhi salam was so modest, he couldn't even say zina. He said, what they invite me to. I can't even say the word. Allahu Akbar. How modest was Yusuf alayhi salam? He couldn't even say it. What they inviting me to, Ya Allah. Modesty is something, unfortunately, today it's been compromised. Men and women alike, illa man rahim Allah. And wallah, you can never have too much modesty. Never. Uthman was so modest, radiallahu anhu, that the angels were shy of him. SubhanAllah, amazing. That's what we can learn from ayah 33. The modesty of Yusuf alayhi salam. Two more things and we're done. Ayah 36. Of course, doesn't commit zina. Doesn't respond to the call, so he is locked up, he's imprisoned. In ayah 36, it's mentioned that the companions of the prison say to Yusuf alayhi salam, Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. We perceive you to be among the muhsinin. What's a muhsin? A person who has ihsan, yes? And the word ihsan came from ahsana. And ahsana means to excel in something. That's why at school your teacher says, ahsant. Excellent, yeah? So it's to excel, to be the best of the best. He's in prison as a slave. The companions say, we think you are among the muhsinin. Now if you go to ayah 78, when he's a minister, not in prison anymore, he's a leader of a people, a country, what do the people say to him? Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. Exact same words. When he was in prison, we think you're a muhsin. When he was a minister, we think you're a muhsin. What's the lesson there? No matter what your position is or your situation is, be a muhsin. A lot of people, they're only good depending on the situation. And if the situation goes sour, then you know what? They become shayateen. Unfortunately, when I was in Egypt, the poverty there, it made people resort to lying, deception, theft, right? Because they were poor, they needed money. They'll do anything they can just to get some food on the table. So the situation changed their character. And sometimes the position can change your character. For example, you find a prime minister or a leader, a person who's high up in society, what happens? They become corrupt, deceptive. But not Yusuf alayhi salam. No matter what his situation was or his position was, it didn't change him. Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. What an amazing lesson. And finally, in ayah 92, when Yusuf alayhi salam is out of prison, he's granted victory, the brothers know, they realize their mistake, what does he do?
Does he line them all up for execution? Does he throw them all in prison because he suffered in prison? No, no, no. What does he say to them? Ayah 92. قَالَ لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. Not there's no blame on you, I'm not even going to mention it. I'm not even going to say it. A lot of people when they're hurt, man, what you did to me, bro, I'll never forget. Bro, yeah, because they're his brothers. Never forget it, cuz. They'll take it to the grave. Not Yusuf alayhi salam. Prophetic character. Manners of a messenger. Amazing. Allahu Akbar. He says, يَغْفِرُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ, and he adds to that, Allah's going to forgive you. He makes dua for them. Prophetic manners. Good character, my dear brothers, is when you show it to those who have none. That's true akhlaq. You know, to show good character to those who show good character to you is easy. Anyone can do that. Even animals recognize this concept, yeah? A cat, for example, you give it some food, you pat it, what does it do? It comes closer, wants to sit on your lap. But to show good character to those who have bad character, that's a true test of your akhlaq, your morals, manners and etiquette. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make all of us the true followers of Yusuf alayhi salam and the rest of the prophets. Ameen. جزاكم الله خيرا على حسن استماعكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.